Hello guys and girls, and this video is a discussion about certain topics from the beta now that it's over, certain details, and what you're going to be seeing in the background is just one of the questing areas for the game, and it just goes, it's pretty playthrough in the back. But what we're going to be talking about is, like I said, the details, certain topics, and things that they need to improve on. And first off, we're going to talk about the release date, or the next beta, open beta or closed beta, whichever. Though I believe they haven't said anything about the next beta. Though I do believe personally that they will have at least a minimum of 1 to 2 other betas before the release date, either being closed or open. And in those betas, I think the only thing we really got to see was one faction. I think this is just one faction that we got to play with. There's supposed to be 3 factions, and I think that's a right amount of numbers, so it doesn't disperse the players too much. Even then, three could potentially be too much because we don't know how popular the game is going to be once it comes out. But it's fine for now. The North American and Europe betas, we have no idea, though I do believe they're going to be more developed when they do rise, which is good. And the also the open world, or world map for now. The world map is basically a avatar moving place. You don't really get to move around. There's no such thing as an open world in the game. It's more of a world map where your avatar character moves across the screen to a certain location where you enter either a city or into a mission, which is either a battlefield or a questing area or a mix of both. So there's necessarily no open world where you can travel like World of Warcraft. You have this large area they can traverse and fly over. And for this, since it's set up like this, you don't really necessarily need a mount, though it does take you sometimes to get to one location to another if you're in a large questing area like I am right now. So teleportation or Hearthstone, like World of Warcraft, would be useful to get to the city. And let's see, more classes and the jumping function. You have no idea how many times where I just wanted to jump over a bench or a small fence, and I think a lot of people felt that because I saw a lot of people walk toward a fence and ended up evading towards the fence instead of jumping. It was funny because I know that feeling. Or dashing towards the fence, that's what I mean, or both. Anyway, I think a jumping function would be interesting and functional. It could even be potentially used in battle. New different combos, which I'll be talking about later about combos. But the other thing is more classes. I would like to have more developed classes, even though the 3 classes that we got to play with were actually very unique. Even though they all involved straight up melee attacks, they all have very specific abilities. They have different playstyles, but they all have that melee similarity. What I want to see is something like you would see in most MMOs. You got your tank, you got your DPS, melee DPS, and then you got your ranged DPS, your hunters, your mage, you got your spellcast support, you got your healers. I kind of want to see that going on. Instead of being in the fray, you're out in the distance supporting in some way, either attacking with long-range weapons, rifles, arrows, spells, and supporting with heals, buffs, micromanagement a lot over the field, more stuff like that. That's what I want to see. Also, into combos and the better explanation of them. They don't really talk about combos all that much unless you read the online manual, and that was very brief as well. They didn't really talk about combos that much, though you can how can I say it? The combos are more apparent when it comes to upgrading your hero itself and the skills instead of troops, since your combos can be more developed. And what I want with combos is to a better explanation of them. This is probably due to the lack of really crappy translation. That's another topic as well. Due to this, I've actually read some of the descriptions of these abilities, and they almost sounded like they would hinder me than actually help me, which was actually the opposite case when you finally got it and used it, when it actually does help you and doesn't actually do anything bad. It was just a terrible description of the ability when you mouse over it. And this is why I want a better explanation with better translations and accurate spelling. I mean, I really don't care about spelling that much, but it's just a given that, spelling would be right once the game is released. But it's the wording that really needs to be worked on, especially in the beta. I think they should have got that better. I wouldn't mind if misspells in here and there. And with combos, like, they should show pictures of the default keys of what to use and how it should look like. Little pictures, I think that would help for beginners. And a better explanation of what each ability does. And, let's see. Yeah, that's about it with the combos. Yeah. And then there's another topic, genders. To be honest, when I think about genders, the first thing that pops into my mind is a male spell sword. And it's a disturbing little picture, since the idea of spell swords wearing less stuff so they can move faster tends to be the case. So that means males are going to be wearing less? So eye candy for girls, I guess? I'm not sure. And I guess they would look a bit more feminine since they're elves, I guess. But you could, it's kind of same thing for berserkers. I mean, female berserker would look interesting. I can't really imagine it that much. It would just to be a really heavy plated female looking with horns. I don't know. It's kind of hard to imagine that. But you can easily imagine the gunslinger female. It's pretty straightforward. And I don't think genders would be a huge issue. And yeah. Also, the abilities in battle. Specifically, one of the heals that goes off every now and then. I think it's from the elves. When they use it right on top of you, they literally blind the crap out of you. At least on max graphical settings, like the screen literally just goes white and you can't see anything. It's insane. I'm like, how can I play? I'm literally blinded. The little healing tree that you get at one of the Shield Town Keep level, which was an insane level. I can't believe I tried to attempt that by myself. That's okay. I hear some complaints about that, but it's not as bright and it's translucent, so that's fine for me. But yeah, let's just focus on the abilities that they're supposed to help you, but blind the crap out of you. Make it a little bit more transparent, a little less bright. And now, probably the biggest thing that I'm going to talk about here, at least for me, since my gameplay was a little different from what I saw from most people, was the troop skill tree and the hero skill tree. Now, I found this a little discouraging to go the troop skill tree, which I did, is that in the questing areas, specifically the questing areas, is that you're not as strong as people would be if they upgraded the skills and their hero tree, where their hero does more damage, their ability does more damage, they have more advanced combos and stuff like that. So my idea was for the troop skill tree was to incorporate officers or bodyguards. The bodyguards would help you fight in these areas, and you would have either 1 up to 3. I say 3 because I would have like a bodyguard for each troop that I have active. So if I have 2 troops, I would have 2 bodyguards with me, or if I had 3, I would have 3. And these would be a part of me, essentially. They would follow me everywhere. I can't really command them. They just fight for me in a specific area. And they might have abilities like they would like if you're on the battlefield, like small abilities that they could use. And they would be transparent. When I mean transparent is that you can move through these characters. They wouldn't block people, you know. That would be really annoying. Like, for example, you were fighting one enemy, and then you have two of your bodyguards fighting in front of you, smacking them, but they're blocking you since you can't really reach them, and they keep pushing them back. So the best case is to make them transparent, able to move through them, and slash through. As you would see in the questing areas, heroes are solids. You can't walk through heroes unless they're swinging or something like that. But most of the time they're just solid. You can't move through them. You can literally block people. And this is why I say they should be transparent, so they don't cause issues with other heroes. But they will still help you and do, you know, considerable damage, obviously. But they wouldn't push the target too far, like as you see right now. I'm pushing this elk all the way out, and then eventually I push him out, I think, all the way to the edge, or I just kill him. But anyway, that's just one of the ideas I was coming up with the troops. But also I wanted to specialize more in troops, not just have them out there be stronger and whatnot, but to actually, like they had in Crusaders, Kingdom Under Fire Crusaders and Heroes, where you had your own personal troop, which acted as your health actually, but still have your personal troops in if you put enough points into the skill tree, you will develop a personal troop that follows you anywhere. You can't necessarily command them or move them around like your other troops. They just act as your bodyguards, so you'll be protected. So like in PvP combat, for example, they will be able to fight you, so you'll be on par one-on-one with a hero that would be fully upgraded with hero skills. And instead of getting completely owned, you have your troops helping you. They're strong, they're really strong, more effective against heroes than actual troops, to make it more fair. Or elite troops, that is. So they're kind of like your elite guard against heroes and powerful elites, but they're not as effective against other troops, normal troops, you know. That's just one of my examples. Try to bring that personal troop, but yet to be dedicated into that class. Also the trees in general. Like I like how you can dedicate your points to one tree or to the other tree, but I just want it to be more balanced. But also want a middle ground, though I can't really think of, at least right now, a middle ground. So we can have potentially 3 trees, you know. But that's just what I'm thinking. But I do like that you can mix it, but I just want more balance overall throughout the game. I know it's still in beta and still things can change. I'm just throwing out ideas there so they can add this on, hopefully. And I really enjoy the troop skill tree. I really like having to feel that my troops are effective, you know, at fighting. But the thing that does bother me is the troops themselves. How do they do damage? From what I've noticed when I was playing, is that the troops do oh my god, do types of damage. One is a damage that does over time. Every few seconds or so, you'll see a number pop up in the middle of the screen, and your troop will come up and it will have a number next to it, and that's the amount of damage they did. And then like a second later or so, or automatically, that damage is applied to the troops that are nearby or at random, and it automatically does damage to the troops or the enemy units nearby. And this is okay, I guess, but it's a little bothering because they're just standing there and all of a sudden they just spontaneously die. But then we have another issue, or not issue, but the other ability to do damage is them actually swinging and hitting something. It actually does do some damage, from what I saw anyway. And I would like to see this be more implemented, to be the common. I know this would probably be more hard to develop, but this is what I was expecting to see, for them to swing and do damage, not just have them engage the enemy and then do damage over time. You'll just see their health is drop without being smacked. And this leads me to the other issue, is how will PvP work when this is the case? will they just take damage over time as they're engaged? Or will they actually be physically attacked by another player's troops? Uh, I really can't see how that works. You know, they would have to make it so that they attack the hero to do damage. That's the only way they can make sense. And I'm assuming that's why that this damage over time is only a temporary thing, hopefully. And that they actually trying to develop, you know, ability to have all the guys be able to smack and do damage just like your hero does. But like I said, they could keep this like this because the processing, this will take a lot of processing. You see how many troops there are on the field. Imagine if they were all the same as your hero. It's a lot of lag. But you know, I don't know how well they can optimize it, so who knows. But my hopefully they make it so that they can, you know, do damage when they hit. Also, cash up items. I had a little issue. Well, it's not much of an issue, but it just felt wrong to me. When I was doing Shield Town Keep by myself, I used the crap out of the coins that help you revive. I think I used like 25 or so. And that level was insanely hard and difficult to do by yourself. And I don't think you're supposed to. But it emphasized my point a little bit better, though, that I used 25 of those coins to get through that level. And I don't like that. I don't like that you can buy those with money, meaning that people with deep pockets essentially just throwing money at the screen will get you through the level. That would really mess up progression. That would totally screw up progression. Everyone would be progressing differently depending on how much money they can spend, and I think that's really wrong. That should be, each dungeon should limit probably 5 at the most, 5 or 4. I guess the troops, since I think what they're planning is 3 and 2 support troops, so that's 5. So 5 reses, 5 coins in total that you can revive your troops and yourself once. And I think that would be fine, but also make it possible for them to attain the coins, those revival coins, through either quests or through gold, not just money. And yeah, I just don't want that to be. I really don't want this to be whoever has the most money to progress the furthest, get the best things and whatnot. I understand to make it maybe a little easier for them and whatnot, but not to just give them it straight up the most money. Just don't want that, you know. Pay to win, pay to progress. Also, what was the other thing? Controls. The controls, it took a while to get used to, and I'm okay with them right now, but I think they can do better. I don't know if you guys remember the control setup for Kingdom of Fire Crusaders and Heroes. That was pretty good. I liked that. I really enjoyed. It was very good transition from controls to the RPG to the RTS and the action, and then the use of abilities. I wouldn't mind them going back to this, and I guess implementing it on the PC is a little different but I wanted to see if it's possible for them to set it up with a control interface. Like if I put a 360 or use an Xbox 360 controller or a PlayStation controller, it would automatically set it up, the optimal best they can set up automatically for that control scheme, for that controller, that is. Also, I'm hoping to see more factions. It said, I don't know why, but when I was questing, my reputation went up, and all of a sudden it said it had available of all these training units, but I didn't see them because I guess I wasn't part of that faction. You know, orc infantry, undead, scorpions, and knights, and stuff like that. But I didn't get a chance to see any of that, so I'm a little bummed out. So I mean, that still shows you how much there still is to be developed for this game. It isn't uh, ready to be released. We're only getting to see one part of this seemingly massive world. If you got to see that map and you went off to the edge and you started looking around, you'd see a lot of land, a lot of volcanoes, a lot of mountains, a lot of grassy plains areas, mountainous areas that really extend further than the part where you only get to do those missions. And it just shows to you how much it still needs to go. One last thing I want to talk about is the dungeons or missions, whatever you want to call them themselves, um, and possible raids. Is that difficulty settings? I would like there to be like a normal setting, and then maybe like a really difficult setting with good rewards, or heroic setting essentially, like World of Warcraft, where you have your regular dungeon, and then you got your heroic setting, which is much difficult and much harder. Also, and like when you make a party in the game, you show up on that list and you just join a party for that mission. I kind of want how it was done in Kingdom Under Fire, Crusaders and Heroes, that once you go into the mission is explained. They give you a rough detail of how it's going to be, what you might expect, and whatnot. But you always get surprises in that level, of course. But they give you a brief description of the level, and you're able to move and discuss with your party before you start that mission. It's basically like a secondary ready, start, and go part, but it explains the mission more to you to give you an idea of what you need to do, especially for those newcomers that haven't done the level before or the dungeon. And it helps to like kind of show your cards, kind of essentially like, oh, I got these troops and so amount of troops. I got this class. I got cavalry. I got archers. I got infantry. I got casters and whatnot. And you get to show it to the party, like, all right, what do you need from me? And it's like, do you need my infantry? Do you need my cavalry? And this is kind of where you set it up. The last part where you get to last chance to set up your troops. Also, and Crusaders and Heroes, the NPC right before you start the mission, they talk about the mission. They show you arrows and locations, general progression where you need to move towards in order to progress to the level. I kind of want that to be implemented, like that screen where everyone's talking and getting ready. I want a map to be placed right there, and where the leader or people can move, show arrows where you and some other person go towards this location, defend and progress through this lane, while me and him go through the other side, and while everyone else, the main troops, go through the center, and you go through this location, and we'll support you when we're done through our lane. Just arrows pointing where to go to give people an idea of what they need to accomplish, where they need to progress, where they'll be the most help, where the troops will be better allocated at. And that's all for now. That's all I can think of for now. If anyone else, please comment down below. Any ideas, anything you want to talk about, that'd be great. The better the ideas, the more explanations, the more detail you get into it. Maybe they'll listen and implement these ideas, some of our ideas. And a lot of stuff that I talked about were a lot of people that talked about on Facebook, and people think commonly, and hopefully everything is done well. Maybe some of our ideas will be implemented. Well, till next time.